The first thing we study when we start special relativity is Lorentz transformation equations, and these equations can be driven using just 4 steps. The first step that we need to do is understand what we need to derive, and before that we need to understand what's already given to us. So all the information we have, we'll write it down, and then we start looking at our goal and how to get there. So there are 2 frames, a frame S and a frame S dash. Coordinates that we are using in frame S are x, y, z and t, while the coordinates for frame S dash is x dash, y dash, z dash and t dash. So that's pretty simple. Now we need to consider that one of the frames, let's say frame S dash, is moving with speed v towards the positive x-axis. That means that the y direction and the z direction are not affected. So y dash will be equal to y and z dash will be equal to z. Now our goal is to define a relationship between x and x dash and t and t dash. We don't know how they're related, but we are going to find out. The only thing that we know for sure is that speed of light is constant. So we're just going to use that. Now moving to step 2, understanding all the assumptions in the theory. Now note that we do not know whether or not x depends on just x dash, or it also depends on t dash, or both, or what. So we are going to take simple linear equations for x and t to relate them with x dash and t dash with different constant, of course. So x is ax dash plus bt dash and t is gx dash plus ht dash. Now moving on to step 3, the main step, calculating the speed of light in 2 different frames of reference. I am assuming that everyone knows how to calculate a resultant. So we have 3 length components, x, y and z, and similarly x dash, y dash, z dash. We just calculate the resultant to get the net length in the numerator, and we divide it by time. We just need to make sure that we use x dash, y dash, z dash and t dash in frame S dash. Now just write it in a way that the right hand side becomes 0 so that we can compare them. This brings us to step 4. So we know that y dash is y and z dash is z, so they just cancel out. Now we just input the assumptions we took in the beginning. So write x as ax dash plus bt dash and t as gx dash plus ht dash. After this, you just open the brackets and separate out the coefficients of x dash square, t dash square and x dash t dash in the left hand side. Now we just compare the coefficients of the left hand side with the right hand side. After this, it's just pure algebra to find the assumed coefficients. If you can't do it by yourself, just pause the slides and read it. It's middle school math. Here we found the values of b and h, and similarly the values of a and g. Note that values of a and h is same. And that's it, we're done. We just put the values of a, b, g and h, and we get the relation between x, x dash and t dash, and t, x dash and t dash.